Gamescom After Dark. I'm here with Yasuhiro Katao and Robert Konki, who's going to talk to us about Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Could you just talk us through what's going on here? Like, obviously she's starting, waiting to get kicked off. What kind of things can players expect to see in the first couple of moments of the demo?
Yeah, so the very first thing you're going to notice is that you can't get off this tree branch without using one of our key features, which is the grappling hook. It's kind of a new way to explore the world. From's always been about designing worlds with verticality in them. Normally, though, you'd have to use ladders or you'd have to use all these different things in order to get around it. Now you can just directly traverse in this vertical world, which is a big difference from a game design perspective.
Yeah. And there are obviously two different types of takedown. You can do a takedown from just ground level or above, just like there. Tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, actually, there's more than that, too. Basically, if you haven't been seen by an enemy yet, you have a chance to pull off what we call a shinobi death blow, which means you can take away a huge amount of health at once. For weaker enemies, that means that you can often one-shot them. For stronger enemies, that might not be enough, and you'll probably have to fight them afterwards.
Yeah.
But if they don't see you for at least the first enemy you fight, you're going to be able to pull that off, and then if you're smart about it, you might be able to get more.
Yeah, of course. So, speaking of bigger enemies, about to fight a Guardian Samurai. Tell me a bit about this guy.
Yeah, so this is called the Samurai General. He is a mid-boss in the game. He has a variety of moves that can be pretty tough. You need a little bit of experience to really be able to fully counter him. Some of the tricky stuff that he does is actually one of the topics we're talking about this time around. You'll see a big red character appear sometimes when he's attacking, like that. That means it's an unblockable attack. We're calling it a perilous attack. So blocking will not work. It requires a specific response, and there are multiple types. So one is a stab, another is a sweep. So to stop the sweep attack, you have to either perfectly press the block button the second it hits you. That's one way to stop it. Another is to sidestep to get away from it. Or another is the riskiest but potentially most powerful option, which is to press the step button and move towards him, which makes you step on his sword.
On his sword?
And it does a huge amount of posture damage, which can be a big advantage, but it's also risky.
As we can see, the risk didn't pay off in that playthrough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Things can quickly go wrong.
Yes, a lot of vigilance required.
Yes.
So a big part of the game is its posture system. Could you just talk me through how that works?
Yeah, so the posture system is, as you probably saw during the Samurai General battle, there was a gauge on top of the screen as well as one on the bottom of the screen. The one on top is your opponent's, the one on the bottom is yours. Both of you have these gauges, and the goal is to maximize, to get your opponent's gauge to the max before he gets yours there. And once someone's gauge is at max, they become stunned for a few seconds, and if you do that to your enemy, you can land a death blow, which does a ton of damage. So that's kind of your goal. But likewise, if yours is maxed first, you become stunned and are very vulnerable. So it's kind of this battle of postures and trying to get the other guy maxed first.
So is it one death blow that will take out your enemy entirely, or do you have to kind of whittle him down with them?
It depends on the strength of the enemy. So, for example, Samurai General, you'll see a little pip over his health bar. So there are two of them there. So that's signifying, at least with the current UI, which isn't final, that's signifying that it's going to take two in order to defeat him. So he just did a stealth move, so that probably will take... Oh, sorry, wrong guy. So once he gets him down once, one of those will go away.
Okay.
Yep. And that's kind of how it works.
Cool. So it's like ticking them off, almost.
Yes. Exactly.
Cool. So why include a posture system? Why not use a health bar?
Well, there is actually also a health bar in the top left. They're just two systems that kind of work together. So, for example, so basically the idea is, how do I explain it? When you hit enemies, you will take away their health, but if you run them out of posture, they'll become vulnerable and you'll be able to do a death blow. But posture... If enemies have full posture, you're not going to be able to hurt them very much. They'll be blocking you left and right. They're going to have lots of energy and be able to basically stop you from doing what you want to do. But when you run them out, then you can start hurting their health big time. So that's kind of how it works. It's not a shield by any means, but it might help to think of it, the lower the posture they are, the more vulnerable they are.
So just then we saw an epic flame swing coming from our samurai. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yes. So you have a variety of arm tools. The one that he has equipped right now is called the Flame Vent, and so it shoots out fire. If you use that correctly, you can actually set your enemies on fire.
Amazing.
And
Yep.
it feels pretty good. And you can actually, if they're on fire, they can't recover posture, is the way it works right now.
Yeah.
So,
Even more useful.
Yes.
There's even more fire happening.
Oh, and you can see his sword is on fire. That's actually a combo move. So we have sword combos with each prosthetic tool. The one for the Flame Vent is that you actually set your sword on fire, and all of your attacks will inflict the burn status to enemies.
Yeah. So what other kind of combos can we expect to see in it then?
Well, in this demo, there are 3 different prosthetic tools. Another one is the Shuriken,
Yeah.
which you can throw it hits the enemy, and if you press the attack button right after, you do this dash forward and close the gap very quickly, which is really helpful particularly against enemies with ranged attacks, like flintlock snipers or guys with bows and arrows. You can close the gap and take away their advantage. And then there's also one called the Loaded Axe that you can use if you use the combo. It's this really slow, powerful hit, and the combo will give you an extra powerful hit to follow it up.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now we have some bits from later on in the game, which I'm now just going to bring up. Wow. Here we go. That's him dying all over again. So here's an archer. Can you talk me a bit about what's happening now? So this is further on.
This is just after that. So that's the Loaded Axe that I was just talking about.
Yep.
In addition to being slow and very powerful, the Loaded Axe can actually break enemy shields. So certain enemies might have weaknesses to certain arm tools, and it's up to the player to kind of discover and figure out the best way to take on these crazy opponents that are thrown at them. So that's kind of one example of that.
Yeah. And these guys look very different from the ones that you've seen before.
Yeah, that big guy, we were calling him the Red Ogre.
Oh.
He is
Somewhat terrifying
pretty
name.
formidable.
Yeah.
He has a special type of attack. So we were talking about those perilous, unblockable attacks. He has a grab one, which can't be blocked.
I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah,
Instantly. Don't want to be grabbed by that guy.
Yeah, it hurts pretty badly if he grabs you. But it can't be blocked and it can't be sidestepped. It needs to be. You just have to get out of the way.
Yeah.
But
Oh, is that the grab?
it is indeed.
Ouch. So how do you recommend players tackle bigger bosses like that?
You really need to get a feel for their patterns and kind of understand when you're safe to try to do damage, what the timing windows are. You also need to manage space very well, and if you don't, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
So you learn that lesson very quickly.
Yeah. So what's this? This is a stunning little location here.
Yeah, so this is
Oh, it's not stunning
a
anymore.
boss fight with with the corrupted monk. Is the name of the boss. Oh,
It didn't last very long.
yeah,
It's
we
a
didn't
very
get to see
short
the
boss.
we didn't get
No.
to see the whole fight.
God
but,
dang. Can you tease
I
us a
assure
little
you
bit of
it's
content
intense.
about the monk?
You know what? I'll let Kitao-san do that.
Yeah.
じゃあ破壊層の戦闘はどんな感じなのか。
どんな感じ
教えてください
どんな感じなのか。フロムソフトウェアの、これまでのゲームみたいにまずは、手強い相手ですね。
So he'll just start off by saying, similar to what you might expect from their previous games bosses, he's pretty hard.
No, really? Wow.
敵に関してはまずもう3メーターぐらいある非常に大きい敵なんですけども、さらにでかいなぎなたを持っていて、それでいて戦うスペース自体は結構狭い橋ですよね。なので相手との距離の取り方が難しかったりとか、あと非常にユニークな攻撃をしてくるので、相手の攻撃パターンを見たりとか、すごい考えながら戦う必要がある敵です。
So the corrupted monk is about 9 feet tall and wields a naginata, which is actually larger than that. And you have to fight her in a small space. And so managing space is extremely difficult. It's very challenging for players, and you really have to think on your feet. And it's not a fight where you just kind of are spamming a button. You really need to very carefully approach and watch carefully in order to succeed.
Yeah.
あとはそれこそブラッドボーンとかでもあったように、ある程度敵を追い込んだと思ったら大きくその戦闘方法が変わってくるっていうような、ヒートアップするようなものもあるので、本当に一筋縄ではいかない相手ですね。
So, additionally, as you may have seen in games such as Bloodborne, when you think you're about to win, when you like, for example, pull off a death blow, all of a sudden the corrupted monk's moves change dramatically, and it becomes a whole different story, and you've got to adjust all over again. So she'll definitely keep you on your toes.
Yeah, so it's all about making sure that players never get quite settled enough to know exactly what's coming next.
Right.
Yeah, nice.
Exactly.
Earlier we saw that, unfortunately, Sekiro died, very sad, but he got the chance to revive himself. So why do you include that mechanic in the game?
じゃあ改正の話なんですけど、じゃあなぜ改正をゲームに含めたのでしょうか。
そうですね、まずは死んでもそこからチャンスがになるっていうのが一つ面白いよねってところがあって、敵に死んだと思わせといて、騙して後ろから殺すっていうような、死んでもまだチャンスがあるっていうところに面白さを見出しました。
So one reason they thought it would be interesting if you could turn death into an opportunity of sorts, where maybe you die and then they all think that you're dead, they start walking away, and then you can come back and restart the encounter with the element of surprise. So they thought that was pretty cool, and so they decided that was one of the reasons, the fact that you could kind of use it in a new way, that they were interested in doing it.
あとはでももちろんじゃあそれを毎回繰り返していればいいっていうわけではなくて、その改正にはコストが必要で、コストを貯めるためには、敵を倒していかないといけないっていうのがあって、なので逃げてばっかりではやっぱり進めないっていう、よりアクティブになる必要があるっていうところも面白いポイントだと思います。
So that said, there's a cost associated with it. It's not something that you can just do willy-nilly. The way that it works is if you use it, you need to, in order to get the ability to do it again, you need to be aggressive, you need to do damage, or defeat an enemy. And until you do that, you're not going to be able to use it again. So it kind of encourages the player to, after using this, to become aggressive and not just defensive or running away all the time. You need to, after you use it, you need to get into the fray and make things happen, or you're in big trouble.
So it kind of acts like a stealth mechanic in that way. Like, how long can you leave it before you actually die, rather than just enemies thinking you're like dead?
ちょっとステルスの要素も一つみたいな感じですね。
そうですね。なんか
どれぐらいの期間はずっと死んでるままにできます？
具体的に何秒っていう感じではないんですけど、そんなに長くはないんです。なので、あのままほっとくと本当に死んでしまうんですね。なのでどうするかっていうのをもちろんすぐに考えなきゃいけないっていう駆け引きがあります。
So he doesn't know the exact second count, but he said it's not all that long. So the second that you go down, you kind of have to immediately start thinking of a plan for how you're going to get up.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to make sure that you're caught unawares. If there's anything I've learned from Sekiro, it's definitely that.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you think will surprise players most about Sekiro?
じゃあ一番びっくりするところはどこなんでしょうか、セキロに対して。
そうですね、これまでのそれこそダークソウルシリーズであるとかブラッドボーンと違う要素っていうのもまたこれから入ってくるので、多分その辺はユーザーさんに喜んで楽しんでいただけるかなというふうに思ってるんですけども、それを言ってしまうとですね、驚いてもらえなくなっちゃうので内緒です。
So there's significant things that are quite different from anything they've done in the past, be it Dark Souls or Bloodborne. And he thinks that they will be very surprising. That said, if he were to tell you about it, it would no longer be surprising. So he'd like to keep that a secret if we can. He can't wait for people to enjoy it.
Yeah, neither can I, trust me. Going to get very familiar with the concept of death, I think, but that's completely fine, all part of the game. Thanks so much for coming to talk to me about Sekiro.
Thank you so much.